gang, gang. Hey, nothing but love and respect. You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family.
Me and my fans, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together to the grave. It's the gang till forever and a day, man. Me and my fans, we don't even trip in the hate. We the I don't give a fuck in our veins, man. Me and my fans,
We the hangover gang. Gang, 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 gang.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part? This upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance. Only at FergusonRoofSystems.com. Hey everyone, meteorologist Tuttle back with you again. It's just about 5 minutes or so before lunchtime, your noontime period here on Tuesday. Just posted the link on Facebook, so if you'd like to get notifications through me, through your instant messenger, you'll be able to do that there. And that we get you squared away. All right, let's take a look here at YouTube. Make sure you guys are rock and rolling. Yes, you are. Everything's good. Yeah, I've got some computer gremlins there, Minoki, on YouTube. Yeah, it's causing me some problems here on my system. Last night it crashed because I was just about done. So, you know, I built this computer like back in 2014, like a gaming computer. And it worked well for me for several years, but like any PC you buy, it turns to garbage after a while, and you got to redo it. So I'm going to have to build another one. And of course, with Bitcoin taking over the graphics market, you know, for all the mining, it's made prices and everything else just go through the roof. So I'll see what I can do. Did it once, I could do it again, but just the thought of it just makes my skin crawl. But got to do it, got to stay up to date. All right, anyway, so all that said and done, thanks for joining me. We're going to talk about the latest on the winter storm and see what's coming our way here for the remainder of today. So let me zip on in here, make sure you get everything loaded. First things first, sunshine out there right now. Now, believe it or not, we had some flurries that moved through earlier on this morning, and patchy freezing drizzle, like I mentioned last night, especially across northeast Oklahoma, which may have caused some slippery spots in the roadways. Those are little very minor events, not often talked about, missed usually by meteorologists in the forecast if they're not paying attention to the micro data. And we did that here, and it was a low probability event, but it was out there, so I thought I'd mention it. Sometimes they can catch people off guard and cause some trouble. But needless to say, we've got a rebound here of 24 degrees. You're going, wow, that's not a rebound, Aaron. No, it's really not. My temperature, I think, this morning hit 17 at my tempest in my backyard. But so we are somewhat rebounding and going in the right direction. So that's some good news. Now, if you look at the southern plains here, I want to put this in motion for you, show you what happens here for today, through tomorrow, through Thursday. You see all these colors that are on the blue and purple and the white side? That's cold air that just keeps piling in here. And you'll notice it keeps sagging southward into Texas. So the Arctic air continues to infiltrate here the southern plains. This is on Saturday right now. And you can finally see Saturday afternoon, there was many areas that got above freezing. And on Sunday, a lot of people get above freezing. So it is going to be a 3-day period here where we're basically in the Arctic tundra. And then we'll eventually get out of it. And then the last part of the weekend looks a lot better. Now we are going to deal with some freezing precipitation. So there is that issue of power outages and travel problems highlighted here in yellow and orange from the National Weather Service up here in Arkansas, Missouri. Now remember, each time I show you this map changes a little bit, as they do based off the newest data. But it's nothing new. It's all old news to you. Upper level storm system out to the west coming through and moves right here across our region on Thursday night, and it's out of here. Another little system right here will swing through on Saturday, which will probably generate either some light flurries or something like that. I haven't spent a lot of time in that part of the forecast. That's what I had looked at several days ago, so I'll just stick with that until we get closer to it. Showed you already the temperature is kind of cooling down here across our region up north. Just want to show you over the next couple of days. They're brutal. They're in the teens and single digits. So it's just going to be a miserable day here across the northern and central plains here for this entire storm system. Now, how can we time things out as to when they're going to start? We just look at the 700 millibar level. This is the vertical velocities. This is what causes the lift in the atmosphere in the lower levels to get those clouds to produce some snow, which in this case is going to be raindrops, which will then in this case be sleet, and then in this case freezing rain. So it's a mixture of just nastiness here. But as the colors increase, that is where the lift increases along with it. So by midnight, you can already see we've got some colors across the map, which indicates cloud cover should be building as moisture condenses. And as we head into the morning hours here, 6 a.m., there's quite a bit of lift already ongoing. So at this point onward, it's just a matter of time, if it's not already happening, for light precipitation by mid-morning, 9 o'clock. I mean, it is heavy lift right here. So that's how you know things will get nasty by 9 a.m. just because it has to, because that's what the lift in the atmosphere shows from the model data. Now this heavy round moves off into the eastern and northeastern Oklahoma in the afternoon. Lunchtime onward, we still have some residual lift around the area, so this is not going to be a completely done. It'll be very, very light after the fact. It's just kind of the heavy round is from early morning to early afternoon across the state. And as we get into Thursday overnight period, or excuse me, Wednesday night overnight into Thursday morning, you see all that lift still moving around. We still get squeezing out that moisture through Thursday morning. So some decent mid-level lift there. As we head into the afternoon hours on Thursday, still some residual. And as we head into Thursday evening, look, it's all gone. It moves out of the state and things are quiet. So that's how you can time the precipitation rounds that move through. We will look at the bigger picture to show you across the southern plains how things ought to evolve. I'll start it right here, which is 6 o'clock in the morning. So you can see the models are already indicating some sleet moving into the Oklahoma City metro area, points to the south and west, down toward Lawton, Wichita Falls, Altus, etc. That only expands in coverage as we head into the 9 o'clock hour through central Oklahoma and up to Tulsa. The darker the purple, the heavier the amounts, and that is just running along the I-44 corridor and points to the south, say the south side of town from Oklahoma City, Norman, Moore, etc., up toward probably Creek County, Sapulpa. As we head into the afternoon period, this is around lunchtime, very heavy sleet across eastern Oklahoma. And here's that ice that extends from about around McAllister and Fort Smith, then points south toward Ardmore and into North Texas. So there's where your freezing rain will be for this first round. And that freezing rain does get heavier as we go into the afternoon hours. But you can see as we head in the afternoon here in central Oklahoma, things quiet down a little bit. But you can see down around Dallas, they're just on the northern fringe of this first round of freezing rain. So you probably should get just a light glazing at most down there for this first round, unless things significantly change. We'll look at that in a second. But meanwhile, as we head into Wednesday night into Thursday, look how that redevelops. So that's more light freezing rain down here in North Texas, including Dallas, on up to southern Oklahoma. And look how it expands. And see this little line in the sand, this little split? This is where the models are doing their best to show you where the sleet and freezing rain line is. And that's just about where I drew it in the forecast on Sunday in the blog. Remember I drew a little yellow line like this? This is where you're going to have a lot of trouble down here for freezing rain and power outages. And up here, we have sleet, which indicates a lot less power outages for us. However, travel will be a nightmare. All right, so that's mid-morning on Thursday. Now there's Thursday afternoon, and notice the models are starting to remove. We still had that lift in the atmosphere, remember that? But as far as a heavy significant precipitation, it's moving on off. So again, there'll probably be some residual, little light stuff, a nuisance, but the majority of the heavy accumulating activity will still be moving eastward into eastern Oklahoma by Thursday afternoon and still lingering down here in North Texas, so for Dallas-Fort Worth and onward. And then that system is completely out of here. So that's good news for us. Here's a close-up view just to kind of show you. We'll take a look at the European model for this particular part of the forecast. So there's 6 a.m. moving into central southern Oklahoma and North Texas. moving further northward by 9 o'clock in the morning, so things will go downhill quite rapidly. So if you do have anything to do outdoors tomorrow morning, I suggest you wrap it up by the time the sun starts to rise or shortly thereafter, because you're not going to have much time after that. And then, as you said, the afternoon, things quickly move off to the east as far as the heavy stuff goes. We'll still have some light residual things that the models don't pick up very well, but then that cranks up as we head overnight into Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So again, here's that secondary round that comes in quite heavy during your morning hours on Thursday. So commuting both times are going to be messy. Same thing here for the Tulsa area, very heavy freezing sleet moving through. Now, in this, you will get just a little bit of freezing rain, little freezing drizzle mixed in with the sleet. But we're talking 90% of it's going to be sleet. So you're talking just a very light glazing of what you would call an ice from, those type of droplets. We're talking more of like those hard little pebbles that come down, and then they just kind of congeal, and then they just freeze up on the roadways. So there's 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, so some lingering light precipitation around here. Then that's moving out for Thursday evening. So how much? If you look at just where the freezing, this is the only purpose to show this map is where the sleet to freezing rain line for significant accumulations will be. And the freezing rain line is just close to the I-44 corridor here in the Tulsa area, and then kind of on the southeast side of Oklahoma City to Norman, and then back down here to right around Duncan or something like that. So that means this area here is where you're going to have the freezing rain, and this is where you're going to have most of your power outages. Now, there might be occasional power outage up in this area, but it's just from general overall, heaviness on the grid, freak car accident, maybe something happens with a little wind and some line goes down, but it's not from ice accumulation. So that's the good news we have here. So we should be, for the most part, be okay. There will be, like I say, just kind of a light glazings. That's why the light couple of hundredths here in this area of the accumulation. But when we talk about the sleet, we're going to add that up to at least about a third to maybe even half an inch of sleet accumulations here along the I-44 corridor. So that's a little different. But down here, we're talking significant ice accumulation. Some of this will be a little sleet mixed in, but especially up around the Muskogee area. But the more south you go, say around McAllister and this region, it's just going to be a lot more just ice of freezing rain than it is the sleet. Now the models there's some that try to differentiate between the two. They don't do a very good job. This particular panel shows you more sleet here, kind of anchored that little orange line across the I-44 corridor, if you can envision that, and then another little heavier round of sleet in northern Arkansas. And it has the freezing rain here in pink, just south of where it has the bullseye of the sleet. And then here in Arkansas, northeast, it just looks nasty. Man, I don't understand. You guys in Missouri and Arkansas, man, sometimes on these ice storm setups, you just get clobbered. As far as snow goes, it's not a big event at all. A little bit of a dusting of snow, maybe a little higher amounts out east, northeast by the time the system is all said and done. But not a big deal when it comes to snowfall. Temperatures, you can imagine, cold now, will be cold later, cold, blah, blah, blah. So we head into this afternoon, we might rebound to the 30s in some areas of the state, but it'll be short-lived, so don't get excited about it. That'll be probably our last time you'll see any significant warmth, if you want to call it warmth. As we head into tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., look at that, 13 degrees here in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. And so that's why I need to bring this to your attention. It does not matter what ground temperatures will be. When you have air temperature right around 27 in the afternoon, that's cold enough to offset ground temperatures typically as it is. So now that we're going to be in the teens, that's not even on the table. So don't even think about that as going to be a saving grace. The roads are going to be nightmarish, all right? Let's see, so that's 7 o'clock in the morning. We're still 13 at noon. There's 14. In the afternoon, we're 15. I mean, that's just a terrible day here. As we head a little bit more in time with that, we're into Thursday morning. Hey, we warmed up to 19. How about that? So, yeah, the temperatures really won't change any. And models often handle Arctic air masses very poorly when it comes to temperature forecasts. Like even today, they way overestimated the warmth that was supposed to be here. And I highlighted that to you on the blog on Sunday and talked about that in the last couple of lives. Wind gusts, obviously, into the gusty terrain today, to the 20s to near 30, and that goes into tonight. Okay, does it calm down any? Here we go. By Wednesday afternoon, winds calm down some. So that's a saving grace a little bit when it comes to power outages. because if you get any heavy weight accumulations, a quarter inch or more, and you add a little wind to that, that's what really causes the problem. So at least the winds are calming down somewhat for Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday night they pick up a little bit. There's some gusts here and there, but overall, at least we don't have a huge amount of wind to deal with when we're talking about the weight load of the ice to go with it. Now, wind chill values today in the single digits, so if you're going to be going out, bundle up. They rebound a little bit here this afternoon as we do try to warm up. And then as we head back into tonight, into tomorrow morning, wind chill values down below 0 in the purple across most of the state. In the afternoon, as those winds lighten up, we'll get a little bit of a breather here, but otherwise still just a brutal day to be outdoors. And then we'll repeat the process a little bit on Friday with the cold weather that sticks around. Temperatures, obviously this was a long time ago. We're not going to be at 39 today. So you can ignore that for the rest of today. 20s to low 30s now from this point forward, at least here in Oklahoma City. And then as we head into Wednesday, obviously a very cold day. Same thing for Thursday. This 34 is questionable, and the Saturday is also questionable. I still think we'll be in the 30s, but then Sunday onward does look good, and there's no signs of a reinforcing surge of Arctic air to come in the short term here for the first week of March here, at least the first few days. But I have to warn you, the pattern is getting very chaotic, and so this will likely change and extend it as we're in an unsettled pattern over time. All right, so let's go to my website, AaronTuttleWeather.com. Go to the Weather Data tab, scroll down here to there's a door. You can hear Larry. So that's Larry, the guard dog. Multi-state road conditions is what you want to go to. And I don't know. We'll scroll down from there. All right, so Oklahoma road conditions. See these little cameras that come up here? You can click on any one of these. It'll show you the road conditions that those cameras are at. And these will have roads that change colors. And when they do, you'll know whether or not the roads are closed or delayed, all that kind of stuff. All right, so go down from there. You can click on the traffic cameras also for the video movement to get your information there. And then there's the Kansas road conditions as well. And then last night I mentioned I didn't have Missouri on here for some reason. I don't know why. I guess either I just never looked for it, I didn't think about it. I'm not sure what I did, but a nice gentleman forwarded me the link, and I said, hey, I'm going to put that on the website as well. So now you have the Missouri road conditions you can click on. And you can click on this little menu here on the left, and you can hit the real-time traffic and the traffic cameras, and you can see how the roads actually look when you head out the door. And then same thing for Dallas. I'll just hit the default location here, and North Texas, etc. Same deal. You can toggle on these little layers to get your cameras networks. You can just click on them and see how road conditions look. And if it's an ice skating rink, you'll know about it. Then there's a link for Arkansas, which doesn't allow me a visual representation, so I just gave you the link. You can go click on yourself for that. All right, so let's see. That was what we'll talk about there. Where are we? We are 10 after 12. Yeah, okay. Let me show you something. This is a little geeky weather. I will tell you this. You guys are the smartest, most well-educated weather people in the world. And you're like, well, what do you mean? Well, for one, you're watching me. For two, you live in Oklahoma. Because you get to learn all the stuff behind the scenes in a forecast for meteorology. You get to learn and see real time the stuff that the meteorologist looks at, and I describe it to you as we go through time so that you pick it up and learn along the way. You basically get a backyard meteorology degree every time you tune in to me and learn this stuff and watch this stuff. So hopefully that's good for you. It's educational and you get something out of it. That seems to be the feedback that I get. So I'm glad to hear that. But it's a lot better than me showing you one map and then just saying the same thing over and over and over till I'm blue in the face to talk to you like you're a third grader. That's insulting to me. And that's what the news business is, and that's how we're trained to talk in the news business, which is annoying. And I never liked that. So when I was in the news business, I would teach a little weather every now and then during my broadcast, just because I couldn't stand to talk to you like you were an idiot. So I'd rather take a different approach. But hey, that's just me. So here I get to do a lot more of that, which is really neat. All right, so let me show you this. My whole point of this was to show you the vertical look at the atmosphere. And you're like, well, how can you really time out things when it comes to lift? Okay, so this right here, this little layer here, is at 15,000 feet. This is the mid-level of the atmosphere, and you got the green, which is moisture. So it's overlaid in this quadrant. You see all this little red here on the map? These are all what we call omega, which is lift, vertical lift in the atmosphere. And there's a lot of lift. But the problem is there's no moisture to go with this, right, in this area. We have to wait for the moisture to arrive, and what happens is really it squeezes it out, and then we start to get that precipitation to fall. Now, the weird thing about this panel is it goes from right to left. In other words, time goes this way, which is totally opposite in everything else in the world. So whoever designed this, they need to be slapped. But point being is, as we hit from Wednesday morning to Wednesday lunchtime, look what happens here at the surface. We go from bone dry, there's nothing down here, to look at all the green that shows up, which is surface moisture. So this is what happens. It precipitates from the upper levels to mid-levels of the atmosphere, comes down through this layer, which was dry priorly, and then it moistens and saturates and it hits the ground. And when it does, that's where it accumulates the sleet. Or, if it was cold, cold at all levels, it'd be snow. Since we have a mixture bag, it'll be sleet. And if it was too much warm layer it has to go through, which would be in this little layer right here, it would be freezing rain, which is the issue down there in southeast Oklahoma. But luckily, our layer right here is thick enough to freeze it all back into sleet, so we don't have that significant problem. But what you notice just in this data, and there's different models that'll give you different data, the heaviest round here for Oklahoma City and central Oklahoma itself is this 6-hour window, roughly from late morning, I'll say late morning, early morning here for Wednesday, through about lunchtime. So that is your heaviest round of precipitation that falls. And then after that, you see what happens here? We kind of dry out a little bit here in the mid-levels. We still have that upper level moisture, all the green up here, but it just doesn't look as good as it does here, right? So that means we have that heavy round, but then we have just this light stuff that will fall from the sky during this period. And sometimes if it's too light, the way precipitation particles develop, you end up more like maybe a freezing drizzle type situation, because it's not heavy enough to produce, like a raindrop, which would then freeze over to sleet. So that's how you can go from a good round of sleet to just kind of a misty, drizzly, occasional sleet kind of mixed in, a freak event, might even a snowflake mixed in, but that's how you kind of get that thing to happen, and that's what happens through the rest of Wednesday afternoon up to about midnight. And then after we hit from midnight onward, we start to saturate the atmosphere again into Thursday morning, and that's when we start to get our next round, which is off the panel of this model, because it's a very short-term model run. So anyway, I just want to show you that. That's a little insider info about how you can time things out from a meteorologist standpoint. Like I showed you the flat plane, which was the 700 millibar, and we just tracked where the colors are, most lift, so logical. But this was the vertical look of it. To where you can really see time frames over just one specific area. So in other words, I was just plotting Oklahoma City, for example. I could do the same thing here for Tulsa. So let me just do that, just to show you the difference. So we'll go here. And then, so here's Tulsa. Same idea. Looks like it's your biggest lift comes in mid-morning, Wednesday, for around 9 a.m. Lasts through, once again, about, let's call it 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then your major lift and moisture kind of diminishes a little, but it hangs on a lot better in Oklahoma City. In other words, you get a lot more moisture here in the lower levels than we did, so therefore your accumulation should be higher as a result. And then I'll show you Dallas here real quick, and I don't know if this will cover the period we want for Dallas. I may have to go to a different model for that. Let's see here. So for Dallas, yeah, it just kind of covers it here for Wednesday night in this region. It gives you a few hundredths of freezing rain that develops, but you're quite moist in the lower levels. So this would mean a lot of freezing drizzle, some very light freezing rain down there in Dallas on Wednesday night. So that's where your trouble lies. You'll get by most of your Thursday okay. It's just until you hit around the evening hours from, most of your Wednesday okay. When you get into your evening hours from Wednesday evening onward, that's when you're going to start worrying about your threat of just slowly creeping up on you. All right, so that's it for me. I'm running out of time. I do appreciate you guys watching today. We will do the live tonight around 9:30. Make sure you join me then. We'll take a look at the latest data. We'll see if the amounts have changed and the precipitation type, and we'll outline as much detail as we can give you and narrow it down as fine as we can. If you're a business and you have outdoor plans, you have doctor's appointments, etc., just know you're going to have to deal with it. It is what it is. Don't control it. I just tell you about it. All right, I'm out of here. You guys have a great rest of your day. We'll talk again this evening. Be safe. Talk soon.